Hi, Chicago. This is Vice Flotilla Commander John Strand. I've got my colleague.
Hi, Bill Leonard. I'm the staff officer for vessel exams.
So we just want to take a few minutes this morning. It is the last day of National Safe Boating Week. That's a big, it's a big event that the Coast Guard leads to make sure right before the Memorial Day weekend, folks know the latest boating safety tips, and most importantly that they know to wear their life jacket and to not drink and boat. So Phil and I wanted to just take a few moments today to talk through 15 core points from the Safe Boating Campaign. And this should, this just general discussion should kind of help folks get ready for being on the water this weekend and beyond. So I'm happy to start off, Bill, and then, please jump in if you have any additional, thoughts or comments or stuff you want to mention here. So I think, as everyone knows, COVID-19 related guidance out there is changing rapidly, both at the federal, state, and local level. And so you not only have to be aware of, let's say, what the state of Illinois or state of Indiana is doing, but also, federal guidelines related to precautions, but then also local. As an example, the city of Chicago has still prohibited a lot of, most maritime activities locally. However, others, Illinois might start opening up in the next few weeks, and Indiana may do the same. So you want to make sure you're sort of on top of all of those rules and requirements. Second, at this point, just given how everything is going, you want to stay within your local community. Taking long trips just puts you more through transportation and having to meet folks in public. Just kind of being out there, it sort of increases your risk, for COVID-19, which now is sort of, obviously, as we're talking about, is being incorporated into normal safe boating tips. Phil, do you have any sort of additional thoughts on that before we move along?
No, I think you covered it. Yeah, just try not to travel too far. Stay within your local waterways, and you'll still be able to get out there.
So, and the next one is sort of limit the folks on board to your immediate household. I know states initially were allowing two people on a boat, and I think now they're moving up to 10 people. Really just think about who you have on your boat. It's going to be a confined space, especially if you have folks that are higher risk, such as grandparents or folks with conditions. You want to make sure you're not exposing others. So if you have guest friends or other people that don't necessarily live with you, just consider that risk as well. Now, getting more towards just general boating tips, file a float plan. Want to make sure one of your loved ones or one of your friends knows where you're going, what time you're leaving, what time you're coming back. A lot of times, a lot of SAR cases happen because folks don't return when they're supposed to, and someone that filed a float plan, their contact is able to contact the Coast Guard and make sure and start that case.
Yeah, and along with that, you can download the U.S. Coast Guard app, and they have a form in there to fill out a float plan and submit it to family via text or email.
And that makes sense. And also, just generally, as the boating season starts up, there's not going to be as many folks out there on the water, and so I think that makes it especially important. I think number 5 here is the most important. Everyone should wear a U.S. Coast Guard life jacket when you're on the water. You never know when there's going to be an accident, and no matter how good of a swimmer you are, I think the current stat is 2/3 of drowning deaths are folks that are good swimmers. Thinking that you can make it, especially in Lake Michigan when the conditions can change at any time and the waves go in every direction. It's just something that you need to have. You want to stay 6 feet apart from folks. I think you've been hearing that in sort of on the news and everywhere else. I mean, that's a little hard on a boat, but you can try to do your best there. When you're at a dock or a loading area, you want to make sure you maintain that safe distance as well, and make sure you wash your hands frequently and use hand sanitizer, which, especially if you're touching a lot of public areas like the Marina Gate or fuel pump or other things that other folks that are not in your household are touching. Phil, you want to take us through the rest?
So number 8 is, sorry, we're on number 9. You're not going to want to tie up your boat and dock up with other boats, specifically in Chicago. Let's say you're in the playpen, and a lot of people tie their boats together. We're just going to want to try and avoid that now with COVID-19. Just to be able to get out there, but just if you're going to anchor and go swimming or something like that, do that away from other boaters. Let's see, number 10, go right from your house to the boat, and then once you're done boating, just go back home. Just trying to limit your exposure while you're out there. Obviously, if you stay with the people that you're traveling with in the car and in the boat, you're going to have less risk of exposure. Let's see. 11, you're going to carry all required boating safety equipment, such as flares, navigational lights, a horn, a whistle, and a first aid kit. So those are just standard boating tips that you're always going to want to follow, not just in current conditions. And you can find a list of the items that are required on the auxiliary website.
And if you're on Lake Michigan, those are required.
Correct. Number 12, pack food, water, anything else you might need while you're out boating. There's a good chance that any marina stores or possibly places where you expect to be able to pick up supplies that you need to go out there are going to be closed. So you're going to want to make sure you have all that before you head out. Be sure to have at least 2 communication devices that work with you. Cell phones are not reliable when you're out on the water. So you can have a satellite phone, an EPIRB, which is an emergency positioning indicating radio beacon, a VHF marine radio, and you just want to be able to make sure that you're going to be able to call for help if you're in distress, because like John said earlier, there's going to be a lot less boaters out there. So there's not going to be as many people necessarily in your vicinity that could potentially help you. So you are going to need to have a way to communicate to call for help.
And everyone forgets to charge their cell phone, and then you could be left without any sort of means of communication.
Correct. This one, pretty simple. Don't go boating if anyone in your household is sick. You don't want to be around any other people, whether in your family or out on the docks, and expose them to a potential sick person. And then the last one here, again, just another general boating tip that should be followed at all times. Don't drink and boat. That's the #1 cause of fatal boating accidents.
Thanks, Phil. And I know we're all kind of ready and eager to get back out on the water. I know we're still waiting to see what the state of Illinois and Indiana are going to do with that. We still are obviously not allowed at this point in Chicago to go out, and we will monitor that very closely. And once everything opens up, we hope everyone gets out there safely, and hope to see you on the water soon. Thanks, Phil.